FIA Pure Motorsport. In this week's episode, we crown the first European champions of the karting season. We'll introduce you to the dominant driver of the Formula Regional season and look closely at how he did on the roller coaster that is the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. And as always, there's lots more from the FIA world of motorsport.
The Polish leg of the FIA European Hill Climb Championship in Limanova is attended by large and enthusiastic crowds. The course is 5.5 kilometers long and very fast. The big challenge for the drivers is to find the right setup because the surface is slippery in the first half of the course and more grippy in the second half. In Category 1, the long-awaited confrontation between the Swiss Ronnie Bracci and the pack of other supercharged Mitsubishi Lancers that usually dominate in Poland unfortunately does not take place. The Swiss driver suffers a mechanical failure in the second practice heat, so the race is dominated by the Polish drivers who are keen to turn touring cars into Berg monsters. The smallest Berg monster is the Ford Fiesta of Piotr Paris. The 22-year young Polish driver has a great race. His reward is a place on the podium. Number 23, Dubai, has already achieved very good results this season, and in his home country, he is once again putting in a great performance. In his Mitsubishi Lancer Evo, he has the second best time in the closed car category. But he too has no chance in Limanova. His compatriot Daniel Stawiarski in his Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 4 drives a great race. In the end, he wins by almost 7 seconds ahead of Dubai. Great weekend for the Polish drivers. In their home country and in front of their fans, they manage an all-Polish podium. In Category 2, the duel between Christian Merli and Simone Fagioli will also take center stage in Poland, but Peter Trinka has established himself at the top this season. The Czech driver continues to impress in his first season in the 3-liter V8 category and takes a convincing third place overall. Simone Fagioli has problems finding the right setup. The Italian is disappointed that his times this year are less convincing than those he achieved in 2019, but even a Fagioli without the right setup is good enough for second place. The truth is, even with the right setup, it would have been hard to beat Christian Merli. In the first race, he's able to put himself in an excellent position and set a new track record with a lead of 2.6 seconds over Fagioli. He's even better in race 2. For the first time in the history of the event, he breaks the 150 mark and improves his own record from 2018 by a total of 1.6 seconds. So Christian Merli with an important win, Simone Fagioli finishes second, and Peter Trinka with another third-place finish. After 10 races of the Formula Regional season, Swiss Gregoire Saucy has already won 5 times and sits atop the overall standings with a big lead of 64 points. In the paddock, one wonders why this is so.
Honestly, I don't know, because I was expecting me to be at the top of the standings.
A feeling that many drivers in the paddock share this season. Gregoire Saucy is already 21 years old. He is not someone who seeks the spotlight. He has a quiet, almost shy personality. And his career before this season was, to put it positively, unremarkable. In 5 years of single-seater racing, he got 9 podiums in 122 races. It's fair to say that the Formula Regional is led by a relatively unknown driver.
From my point of view, Gregoire started his career only 3 years ago, and not maybe 5 or 6. That's the first point. He has not high experience in go-karts, in karting. When he started in single-seaters, he was managing to do 2-3 races somewhere, change the team, change the series, and so on. So from my point of view, this is only the real third year where he had the possibility to show his potential.
On and off the track, he also shows his calm and composed behavior. On a race weekend, he concentrates fully on his job.
I'm just trying to be focused as much as possible on my side with my engineers, with the team, to progress. And I just want that, just progress. So just want to see with my engineers what we can improve. I can have fun after the weekend.
A work ethic that he adopted from his childhood idol.
When I was really young, Michael Schumacher was my idol, and I really wanted to do like him. So yeah, I'm just focused to progress in this sport.
But work ethic is not the only talent that the young Swiss shares with Michael Schumacher.
I think I have a good feeling with the car. I can understand well the car with this car, so I can give a good feedback to my engineers to improve the car, and I think it's the most important during a race weekend.
There's been no stopping this man. Redemption for Gregoire Saucy.
One thing is for sure, after this season, the name Gregoire Saucy will no longer be unknown in the motorsport world.
If he is leading the championship, it's because he deserves it. He works well, he has the potential, and even if some people are thinking that it's quite strange, he's at his position and he deserves it.
The beautiful Formula One racetrack in Ardennes in Belgium is the perfect setting for the 6th stop of the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. Gregoire Saucy arrives in Spa-Francorchamps with a big lead of 64 points over Hadrien David in 2nd place. Isaac Hadjar is in 3rd place. But after a surprisingly bad qualifier, he has to start the race from grid position 24. This is a big opportunity for his toughest rivals to make up ground in the championship. Race 1 starts with some slightly wet track conditions and some teams and drivers trying to gamble with slick tires. But the choice does not help, and finally the race will be held in pouring rain. Mikhail Belov, number 30, starts from the pole position. Hadrien David is on the grass and overtakes Belov, but the Russian driver regains the lead after the first corner, and the G4 Racing driver will keep it until the end. After 5 minutes, Gregoire Saucy has already moved up 14 positions from 24th to 10th, while David Vidalis spins and damages the rear wing. Cas Havercourt spins out also, but luckily avoids hitting Vidalis. In the penultimate lap of the race, Zane Maloney with a big mistake, and his teammate Hadrien David snaps up 2nd place. Mikhail Belov wins his first race in Formula Regional by Alpine and brings also the first success to his team, G4 Racing. Next to him on the podium are the 2 R-Ace GP drivers, Hadrien David and Zane Maloney. The next day, the weather in Belgium shows its good side. Gregoire Saucy, who in the first race recovered 16 positions from 24th to 8th, is back in pole position. Next to him, his teammate Gabriel Mini. Saucy with a good start, and he is taking his lead down to the famous part of the track, Eau Rouge. On the Kemmel Straight, Mini attacks Saucy, and the 16-year-old takes the lead. He is the only top 10 driver who's never raced in Spa. When the drivers arrive for the second time on the Kemmel Straight, Saucy copies his move. This time the Swiss is on the right-hand side, but Mini holds his own. Both drivers are side by side. Great and clean racing from the Art Grand Prix teammates. In the end, Mini stays out in front. When they pass Eau Rouge for the third time, Saucy attacks again, and he finally manages to overtake Mini. Then Mini gets some pressure from Zane Maloney. Mini tries to protect his position, but with his move, he gives Hadrien David the chance to pass him as well. And the French driver goes around the outside to take the third position. It's an amazing show of battles and overtakes. A great Formula Regional race on an amazing racetrack. And the battle for points is also fierce. Isaac Hajar attacks Dexter Patterson in the black monolight racing car. The 16-year-old stays aggressive and finally overtakes the Brit. In the end, it's the 7th win of the season for Gregoire Saucy. After a bad start into the weekend, it's a great finish for the Swiss youngster. Zane Maloney finishes in second, his 5th podium of the season. Hadrien David finishes in 3rd place.
Finish the weekend P1, just perfect to close this weekend. We still have some good points in front in the championship, so yeah, really happy about that.
In the overall standings, Gregoire Saucy is finally losing only 4 points of an advantage on his first follower in the championship, Hadrien David. Zane Maloney takes over 3rd place with 124 points. The 5th round of the FIA World Cup for Cross Country Bajas and the opening event in the newly created FIA European Cup for Cross Country Bajas was a close-fought run to the finish line. But in the end, Nasser Al-Attiyah in his Toyota Hilux claimed his 4th Baja España Aragon victory. Finishing 2nd, Matthias Ekström and Emil Bergqvist notched up their best result in an FIA Cross Country World Cup event, while Yazid Al-Raji and Michael Orr added valuable points to their tally with 3rd overall. The 4th round of the Italian F4 Championship powered by Abarth took place at Enzo and Dino Ferrari circuit in Imola. 30 cars experienced an action-loaded weekend with great racing. British driver Oliver Bierman won his 7th consecutive race and extended his lead in the overall standings. The driver from Van Amersfoort Racing leads the F4 Italian Championship with 222 points. Italian Leonardo Fornaroli is in 2nd place, but already 97 points behind Bierman. Also, the 4th round of the Formula 4 Spanish Championship took place at Motorland in Aragon. Delano Van't, the championship leader and Campos Racing driver, took the top step of the podium in the first race. With his lights to flag win, he extended his already big lead in the overall standings ahead of Sebastian Ogier in second place to 113 points. It was the fifth win of the season for the 17-year-old Dutch driver. Spanish driver Pepe Marti had a great weekend with wins in races 2 and 3. He moved up to fourth place in the overall standings with 103 points. Kart racing is a unique feeling. The speed, the forces, the direct contact to the racetrack, the first real race experience for young drivers, and a less expensive way to start with motorsport. A kart like what's used in the FIA category OK Junior costs around 5,000 euros. Between 2,000 and 2,500 euros for the engine, and more or less the same amount for the rest of the bodywork. FIA CIK Executive Secretary Kay Oberheid took his time to explain the important individual parts of a race kart.
The engine, which is a big part, is of aluminium, and then we have the chassis frame itself, which is steel, and depending on the manufacturer, they are using different kind of steel depending on their philosophy and the design of the chassis.
The non-gearbox kart weighs about 75 kilograms plus the weight of the driver, so the acceleration can be compared to a small motorbike, and like smaller bikes, it has a two-stroke engine.
The engine, in this case, we have a OK Junior engine. This is a FIA or CIK homologated engine. This has 125 cc, and the Junior has round about 35-38 horsepower. Then we have here also a homologated carburetor, which is a butterfly carburetor, not the normal people know float chamber carburetor, because a butterfly carburetor, in this case, you can adjust the jet. This means the flow of the fuel. Then we have here, this part is the exhaust. The exhaust is also homologated product, which means that it's unit for everybody, and the same is also for the intake silencer. The speed of such a kart is depending on the sprocket, what you are using. This means if you have a sprocket with a lot of T's, then you have a lot of power at the beginning, so when you come out and accelerate. And if you have a smaller sprocket, then you have a good high speed. So you have to adjust this depending on the track.
The driver sits in the middle of the kart just 25 millimeters from the ground, the lowest position in motorsport, and the steering is very direct.
Normally you need only this and this area, not more, because of the speed of the kart. There is only very, very little, because you have even very short distance between the front tires and the rear tires. So it's a very direct drive.
And there is no roll cage like in the single-seater classes.
And in kart, the problem is that the chassis itself, the frame, is a kind of suspension. So this means it must be flexible. And if you would fix something rigid, the kart is no more a kart. At the beginning, when karting was founded by Art Ingalls in US, and there was never damper or springs, so they were using only the frame as a suspension. And this is the meaning of a kart. So if you would change this, it's no more a kart, it would be a car.
And that would take away everything we love about kart racing. The OK and OK Junior class season finale for the 2021 FIA Karting European Championship brings us to the Circuito Internacional de Zuera, a few miles from Zaragoza. Freddie Slater and Kimi Antonelli are on the verge of sealing their European crowns they've been fighting for since the season started in May. Heading into the final, Freddie Slater has been unbeaten across the 5 heats and leads the standings with 74 points. His 2 closest championship rivals, Mateus Ferreira and Alex Powell, will start right next to him at the head of the grid. Freddie Slater grabs the advantage from the pole position while Matheus Ferreira loses ground to Alex Powell and other drivers. Through turn 2, everybody keeps it on the road except for Marshai Gladish, who would rejoin at the back of the field. Slater adopts bold tactics from the outset, attempting to back up the field and force them to battle so he can get clear out front. Back at the head of the pack, the top 4 are already starting to stretch away. Number 210, Alex Powell, attempts to take the lead, but Slater is wise to the move. There is enough momentum lost for Stolcherminus to climb to second place, and it's the young Latvian who is now challenging for the lead. Aikmans with the yellow helmet wants a place on the podium and makes his move on Powell, only to lose the position on the exit. Behind them, pandemonium starts, and sadly it takes out championship contender Matheus Ferreira. The Brazilian's dreams of winning the championship are now officially over. With the pressure off, Slater now settles down and enjoys his last race. Heading into the last lap, Aikmans leads ahead of Powell and Slater, but as Powell goes for Aikmans, the pair drifts wide enough that Slater makes the ultimate slingshot maneuver and grabs the lead with a few corners to spare. Stolcherminus senses an opening too and is up to third on the outside. He tries to follow Slater but bangs wheels with Powell, not once but twice. Game over. It is agony for Powell and Stolcherminus, who have both driven their best races to date. It's even more costly for Powell as the points lost drop him out of the top 3 in the Drivers' Championship. So it's Brit Freddie Slater with the win. Ian Aikmans from Belgium bags a brilliant second place ahead of first-time podium scorer Maxim Orlov from Russia. After winning the world title last year in Portugal, now Slater is the new European champion.
It's definitely good to win the World Champs and the European Championship. Now we work even harder to go for this 2 times World Championship.
Kart Republic has 3 contenders for the OK European crown. Italy's Kimi Antonelli, Britain's Arvid Lindblad, and Brazil's Rafael Camara. On dropped scores, Camara is only 6 points behind Antonelli, but in reality it could be any one of the trio that wins the title. Antonelli leads Lindblad into turn 1 while chaos reigns behind them. Luigi Coluccio sustains a heavy impact into the barriers at turn 1, joined by Caspian Hagman and Ugo Ugochukwu. Lindblad knows he needs to pass Antonelli quickly, so having made the move, it is frustrating then to lose the lead again almost instantly to his Italian teammate. It was tense and close, but the Italian is ahead for now. Lindblad is under pressure from Tapponen while Morgato is eager to overtake Moya, but the Spanish talent really wants to end his year well on home soil. Tuukka Tapponen is hustling Lindblad for second place, but his engine starts to misfire. It takes all his effort and strength to bring the Tony Kart home in third. Number 111 Camara is working his magic again, and after Morgato, he passes Moya. He needs to stay in 4th place if he wants to secure a second in the championship race. Kimi Antonelli ends 2021 a dominant champion. Aside from Henk, he has been the class of the field in every single final this year to clinch an even more convincing European title than he had achieved in 2020, and to become the first OK driver ever to win consecutive European crowns. It was never in doubt throughout the weekend, and his lead over Lindblad at the line showcases how unstoppable Antonelli has become. Arvid Lindblad runs home second ahead of Tuukka Tapponen.
After a bad start of the European Championship, it's never easy. Because when you lose a lot of points from the guy in front, you know that it's going to be hard to recover. But yeah, I'm glad that we did it again.
Kimi wins the title with a big lead. Camara manages to take second place. Lindblad ends up in third place. That's it for today. On the next episode of FIA Pure Motorsport, we'll celebrate the next European champions in karting, have great race action not only from the European Rally Trophy, but also from the fourth stop of the spectacular FIA European Autocross Championship. Till next time, take care everybody and ciao.